And a stunning new security strategy in Russia, which is now declaring NATO a threat. President Vladimir Putin endorsing the plan last night. It says NATO's military buildup threatens his country's national security.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin has approved a new national security strategy, which outlines the country's national interests and strategic priorities. The new Russian National Security Plan says that the expansion of NATO is threatening the country's national security. It says NATO's military build-up and deployment in Russia's neighbouring countries is an attempt to incite colour revolution in Russia, while admitting that restrictive economic measures imposed against Russia has negative influence upon its economic security. The document said the international community still faces high risks of economic and financial crises. But Russia also reiterates its readiness for cooperation with the United States, the European Union and NATO over a whole range of issues.
Russia's new national security plan says the national priority is securing the status of a leading world power. It says Russia will boost cooperation with the BRICS countries, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, APEC, and the G20. It is also stressed that the Russia-China Comprehensive Strategic Partnership of Coordination is a key element in maintaining peace and stability in the region and the world. The document says the expansion of NATO is threatening Russia's national security. It cites NATO's military buildup and deployment in Russia's neighboring countries, saying the military alliance is attempting to undermine Russia's regime and to incite color revolution in the country. But it adds the country is ready for bilateral cooperation on the basis of equality to boost regional security. The document also says that Russia is willing to develop a partnership with the US over curbing the spread of weapons of mass destruction, combating terrorism, and resolving regional conflicts. Russia says it supports the integration of Europe. It says the country will resort to military force to defend national interests if all nonviolent measures turned out to be inefficient. The document points out that the Russian economy still depends on exports of mineral resources and raw materials. It says Russia will revamp its state administration system in fuel and energy sectors. That's to assure reliable and uninterrupted energy resources delivery to customers. Russia would also strengthen its financial system, stabilize the exchange rate of the Russian ruble, revamp currency regulations and controls, and lower interest rates of banks. Chen, CCTV.
There's a couple of points to come out of this document, which is a sort of official document that Russia has to update every 6 years. It was last updated in 2009, so time was ripe for this new description, essentially, of the threats to the Russian state as the Kremlin sees it. It says that it sees the expansion of NATO, the Western military alliance, as a major threat to Russia's national interests. And it also says that's because of Russia's, what it calls, independent domestic and foreign policy, which has triggered a counter-action from the United States and its allies. And so I think the reference there is to the fact that Russia has engaged in military activities in Ukraine. It's engaged in Syria as well, carrying out airstrikes against ISIS and other rebel groups in support of Bashar al-Assad and his allies. And that's angered somewhat the United States specifically, but also NATO countries in general. And so this is a formal document, essentially, which says, look, NATO is a threat to Russia's national interests, but it doesn't necessarily represent a big shift in the thinking of Russia. Russia, and Putin in particular, has been describing NATO as a strategic threat to Russia for some years now. And indeed, that threat has come to a head over the conflict in Ukraine, where Russia has essentially deployed military forces, although it denies this, to prevent Ukraine from joining NATO and other Western institutions. So it wants to prevent the spread and the expansion, the further expansion of NATO, and it's made that now a priority in terms of its national security.